3, 2, 1, let's go.
It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. Whoa. That threw me off, guys. No. Ha! Got it. Okay, guys, welcome back and happy, I want to say Wednesday. Oh my gosh, where's my head at today? Holy cow. Happy Wednesday, guys, and happy Real Housewives of Dallas. Guys, if I haven't said it enough already, I do want to also say Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you guys are having a great start, but obviously that's not the case for everybody. We have our ups and our downs, and I just want to say I have my friend Hermione in here in the room, and Hermione, we are still praying for you and your family. We love you so much, and thank you for being back because you don't have to take the time to be here, so we really just appreciate you and everybody else who's watching. Thank you, guys. What an episode. Before we jump in, go ahead and hit that like button, guys. Let's get some more eyes in the room, and let's start talking about Real Housewives of Dallas. This was an interesting one. Okay, guys, so we start off with new housewife Tiffany Moon, and she's calling out Brandi Redmond about her racial insensitivity. Racial insensitivity, yes. Calling her out because she made that video where she was trying to squint her eyes to make fun of her own eyes, but also she knew what she was doing in the sense that she was making fun of Asian culture in some capacity. Now, even though Tiffany Moon said that she doesn't feel like Brandi has racist tendencies or holds racist values, she does feel like she should be held accountable for her insensitive video, and she wanted to call her out. When she kept on saying, I'm sorry, Tiffany Moon was like, stop apologizing. I don't have time for it. Pretty much like, stop apologizing. Let me just tell you where I'm coming from and learn from it. You can be better. We can be better. This is 2020 at the time. We're in America. Let's do this, right? So when she's talking about her experience about, coming over to America for the first time when she was 6 years old and meeting her family after not seeing her mom and dad for a while, she said that she was really picked on. She was picked on her whole life, where people would sit there and they would play with their eyes and they would make motions that, hurt her feelings. And obviously, no matter what culture you are, what religion, what race, ethnicity, everyone experiences some sort of nastiness at one point or another, and it doesn't make it okay. But like Tiffany Moon said, learn from it, and hopefully that's what Brandi's doing here. When Brandi's going on her crying escapade and she's sitting there going on and just pretty much trying to make us understand through her tears about how bad she really feels, she went on to point out the fact that she was even about to take her own life at one point because she couldn't handle the backlash. That's terrible. That's not a way to solve this problem. But I do like Tiffany Moon's outlook on all of this. Tiffany Moon also pointed out the fact that she was in her hospital and there was a patient who said, I want a different doctor. I want a doctor who doesn't have coronavirus. Making fun of the fact that, we all know that at one point this was unfortunately called the China virus. And she is pointing out all of these things because she wants Brandi to understand, like, listen, I experienced it then. I still get it now. Like, it's not okay. So moving on, hopefully Brandi took that, received it, and she's going to grow from it. I think she will. But, we'll have to see. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button. But I also wanted to point out the fact that Tiffany Moon literally walks back in the same party, Stephanie's party, sits down, and she says, that was cathartic. And Cameron goes, what? What does that mean, cathartic? And then Tiffany starts making fun of her for not knowing or being educated enough to know some of these terms that she says, like phalanges, cathartic. These are words that Cameron's just not picking up on. And she's like, is that a scientific term? Because Cameron speaks like puppy, Pomeranian, pink. Like, she likes her P words, but I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit funny that she was saying do better, and then she goes in there and starts making fun of her for just not knowing. But let's move on. Speaking of Cameron, her house is up for sale. It's been up for sale for 2 years now, but she's finally putting a for sale sign in the front yard. This woman's way of thinking is so interesting to me. It's a little bit beyond, just in the sense that she refused at one point to put a for sale sign up in the yard because she felt like if I put a for sale sign up in the yard, all of the neighborhood, everyone's going to be gossiping, like coronavirus just hit. Are they going broke? Did they lose their business? Are they getting a divorce? And she really cares what everybody thinks. So I guess that's probably part of the problem. She really, unfortunately, festers on this in the sense of like she wants to make sure everything is perfect. She also lets things get to her in a way that's a little, I think probably too much. And I say that because her husband, Court, has to hide the fact that they are selling the home until the process is over. Because when the house fell through before, and because remind you, they did have a buyer at one point for their house. The buyer actually backed out due to the coronavirus and decided, no, we don't want to move forward with this sale because we don't know what's going to happen. So that really affected Cameron. Cameron was about to buy her $7 million dream house, and I think she really thought it was all going through. And she was like, yes, this is a new chapter. And then boom, she had it all taken away. Court said for 2 weeks, she was acting like a little all over the place and very emotional. And for Cameron, she was just trying to explain, listen, I get emotional, but just because I get emotional doesn't mean you should take things away from me or not include me in this process, because by doing that, you're just letting me know that my emotions aren't okay. I think that's pretty much what she was trying to say. But I agree with her in that sense. Like, he shouldn't go through the sale of the whole house and not tell her until all of the paperwork's signed. I mean, that would just be a little bit strange, especially because that's where their family is. That's where their kids are. It's her house too. And even though she can be emotional, listen, if she cries in bed for 2 days and she's like, no, why? At least she knows what's going on. And this is something, again, she can learn from, grow from, and hopefully just not let it happen again. I don't know who would. This is not something that I would technically cry about, because she's only, I mean, you're crying about giving up a house or selling a home to upgrade into a $7 million home. Like, this isn't exactly everybody's everyday problems. But I do have a friend who said to me, even billionaires get depressed. So I guess that's what I'm going to have to stick with here, because just because my problems aren't her problems and her problems are millions of dollars worth of, worth more than my problems, I can't sit there and discredit it in a weird way. When they're sitting there walking the dog, if you guys notice this, the way that Court looks at his wife, I think he thinks that she's like a little bit cuckoo sometimes. He's like, hey, cuckoo, get back in your clock. When she's trying to take the dog and put dresses on it, and she like talks to it and holds it, he like looks at her like, are you okay? And she's just a little out there. But I guess that's why she makes a great housewife, because she's a little bit all over the place. And from that, I guess we should move on. I don't want to pick on Cameron. I like the fact that she's true to herself. She's this little pink princess with her Pomeranian, and she does things the way that she wants, but she also sticks up for herself. And I actually kind of like her. Another housewife that I like is Deandra Simmons. Moving on, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. I'm going to drop the link here in a little bit for you guys to call in if you'd like, and then we can talk about it. If not, don't forget, today at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going live with Whitney Rose from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Oh, I choked on that for a second. All right, Whitney, if I'm choking on the name, then hopefully it is going to be a good one. Deandra Simmons. So she is in this episode, and we get to see her shaman. I don't know if you guys watched this episode or if you're just going based off of my recap, but this was weird. And I think weird is, maybe that's an aggressive term. This was interesting. The shaman sticks a tube up Deandra's nose and goes, and then sits there and like blows in her face, and then is sucking the air out of her face. Like, it's the strangest thing, especially during coronavirus and COVID. He's like, I mean, I don't know. I've never experienced a shaman, but when he's talking to her and she's talking about this experience, she's telling him that she pretty much wants to be better. She wants to be softer. She wants to be less angry. She doesn't want to walk around and be this woman that everybody thinks is going to snap and pop off all the time. And she wants to get closer with her family. This was an interesting thing for me to see, because if you guys caught it, I did an interview with Deandra's mom, Mama D Simmons, and she literally doesn't give a rip, just like she said. And I can see where Mama D would give Deandra some tough love sometimes, and how that could have probably affected Deandra. Now, Deandra but shares the fact that she has a brother, and she had a really bad, pretty much inheritance battle over listen, let me explain it like this. There was a will that was left by her dad. Her dad took his own life, which is terrible. In the will, he left her one will that said that she got everything, and then left her stepmother and stepbrother another will that said they got everything. Now, I don't know how this happened where she won, but she actually won when it came to the case. But what she lost was her family. Unfortunately, they haven't talked since, and this has been a long time coming, but now her stepbrother's about to have a baby. The stepmother reached out to Deandra and wanted to let her know, hey, listen, you're going to have like a little niece or nephew. And for Deandra, she was like, okay, maybe this is my chance to get into a better place with my family and communicate with them. Maybe since she's reaching out, I should reach out back, but I just don't know how. I loved this episode because watching Deandra with her husband, who so unconditionally loves her, I thought that it was, I don't know, it's special. It's special to find somebody like that in your life who is just like completely there for you 100%. And hopefully she ends up having her family there, because as much as I'm sure Mama D is enough, she still provides that tough love. And I think she might like Tiffany Moon as her daughter better. Speaking of Tiffany Moon, guys, this was crazy. Gina Maxey said, how many wills can a person leave? I don't know. That shaman scene disrupted my soul. It seemed like the faux spirituality that scammers like to practice. Okay. All right. You guys have some opinions about this, I see. Speaking of Tiffany, though, I want to go back to this because Tiffany Moon invites Stephanie and Deandra over to her beautiful, extravagant, I'm going to call it a mansion because that's exactly what it is, mansion, and takes them on a tour. I don't want to say this is obnoxious, but Stephanie said it was obnoxious because when you go through the tour of this house, she has a wine cellar down at the bottom. Her husband didn't like the wine bottles that they were buying for $100, $200 to $400. So he said, honey, we're going to go to Napa and make our own. So they literally made their own private labeled wine. They have their massive wine cellar that's downstairs. And then she continues on through the rest of the house. She's like, this is the girls' wing. This is my glam room. And then we get to her closet. Guys, if you saw this episode, on the closet, she has a fingerprint reader in order to go inside. And then she takes Stephanie and Deandra in. You can tell Deandra already knows Tiffany. Again, if you saw my interview with Mama D was instrumental in getting Tiffany onto The Real Housewives. So Tiffany, Deandra, and Mama D already have a relationship outside of the rest of these women and outside of the show. She was also Mama D's anesthesiologist. But going back to it, when Tiffany's taking us around the closet, she's showing, like, look, this is my Fendi, this is my Birkin, this is my Gucci. And Stephanie thinks it's obnoxious. She thinks that this is ridiculous. What is this woman doing? Like, it's almost like, I don't know, like she's bragging. And she obviously didn't think that it was cute. But I think Tiffany's just trying to kind of fit in and be like, look, girls, you ladies like to get dressed up. You guys like Birkins and fancy things. We're all rich here. So let me show you my closet. And I think that was just her way of bonding with the women. When they go to sit down and talk more, she ends up inviting the ladies, well, the ones that are there, to a special dim sum brunch. They also talk about Brandi, and this is where she brings up the fact that Brandi, she feels, doesn't actually hold racist values, which is a great thing. That's, you know, at least Tiffany wants to move forward with her, onward and upward, and she wants to figure out how to forge some sort of relationship with Brandi. She's inviting all of the ladies again to this dim sum brunch where she's like, you guys are going to eat chicken feet. Stephanie said that she'll try it, and she did, but I definitely couldn't do it. Unfortunately, Brandi's not going to be able to make it to this dim sum lunch because she's in Florida. I guess she was trying to take a little mini vacation out of Texas during the coronavirus. I'm surprised that people aren't giving her backlash for that right now because honestly, one, she received a lot of backlash for the video that she made, the insensitive video, and then two, traveling during a pandemic. You know, it's inevitable. I'm sure she's going to get comments about that. But I want to move on, though. Again, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and let's keep this going. I do want to point out the fact, though, before we get into Kary, Tiffany felt like Kary was kind of hazing her a little bit at Stephanie's party. She felt like Kary kept on saying, shots, shots, another one. Come on, have fun. And Stephanie and Deandra just pointed out the fact that, listen, Kary is not a bully. She's not trying to bully you. She just sometimes thinks that she's the fun police. And that's just about it. Okay, so don't take it to heart. It's just this is the way she is. I can't wait to end this recap on what we have coming up from Kary because we'll talk about it. Speaking of Kary, though, Kary has a conversation with her daughter who just got back from LA. Now, for Kary, the pandemic is serving her well in the sense that she has all of her kids under one roof. That makes her extremely happy. She has her son there, her daughters, like everybody's there. And even though they're driving themselves a little bit crazy by spending all of this time together, she said nothing fixes it like a little bit of tequila. When she sits down with her daughter and they do the flashbacks of all of the moments that she's had with her daughter, like when she wanted to go to a European camp and do all of these different little things, her daughter comes off, whether it's editing or just the relationship she has with her mom, a little bit bratty in these episodes. Now her daughter has moved away to LA and she's gotten a new perspective. She feels like she's a little bit more educated. And this is where they talk about the Black Lives Matter movement. Her daughter was participating in the protest and she feels like going to Los Angeles and having a new perspective and seeing how people are and how it's just like a melting pot of different religions and cultures and ethnicities. It's really opened up her heart to understanding protesting and why things are a certain way and how we should accept everyone. So that's a good thing for her. You know, she's not in this kind of narrow-minded, like, I don't want to say being in Texas is narrow-minded, but I mean, for me, like I lived in Tennessee for a little bit in my childhood. I went to school there and the perspective and ideas of everyone or ideology was completely different than Los Angeles or Palm Beach County, Florida. So I think it's important to travel and kind of experience these different places. That way you can get a better understanding of how people operate, I guess is the best way to put it. And that's exactly what she's doing. She ends up breaking down because she feels like people now being back in her hometown when she goes to parties and you're not back to party anyways. Like this is still coronavirus and a pandemic, but she's like, when I go to parties and stuff and people use certain words, it just like makes her so angry. And then she starts tearing up and Kary was like, well, you need to just try to understand and don't let it get to you too much. Just know that you're being a better person or becoming a better person. And I guess emphasize on that a little bit. I think that's the best way to put that. So I know that I talked about Deandra and her husband, and they sat down and had the conversation about what she should do. And I know that I talked about how special that sort of loving relationship is. So I'm not going to go back into that ooey gooey stuff, but that was definitely the next scene in this episode. I want to move on to Tiffany Moon's dim sum brunch. Okay. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button. I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments really quick. I am never eating chicken feet. My grandmother did, and she loved them. No. Hermione, I love Tiffany's closet. I was jealous. Me too, Hermione. Me too. Any place has different normals. Yes, I agree. And I was so happy that Kary's daughter was able to advocate for people of color. It's such an important thing to learn at a young age. I agree. That's a great name for a store, Tiffany's Closet. All right. So we move on to her dim sum brunch. And again, I told you guys Brandi couldn't be there because she was in Florida. But at this dim sum brunch, She shows up in, I don't want to say a ridiculous outfit, but Tiffany comes in with this red dress that has this big piece on it, and she looked great. I guess it was a fashionable outfit. Like she said, it's not your typical thing that you wear to a brunch, but also, mind you, she knows that there's going to be 6 cameras there. She's filming a show. All of the other women are going to come in glamorous. So why wouldn't she try to kind of step it up, right? When all of the women come, there's this little kind of lazy Susan type of situation where you just rotate the table, and there's different various tapas plates. It was kind of cute, the fact that she felt like she had to explain what tapas was to all of the women, as if they've like lived under a rock. But everyone knows, I think at least, that tapas is small plates, and it's just so everybody can try a little bit of everything. She's going around and having them try beef balls and these pork rolls and shrimp rolls, and then here comes the chicken feet. These women were not having the chicken feet. So I didn't actually know this, and I wonder if my dad knows this because he likes chicken feet. But the chicken feet actually have these little bones in them, and you eat around the bones, and the chicken feet have collagen in them. So what Deandra was trying to say is that the chicken feet make you look younger, so that's why people eat them. And I guess they're tasty. I couldn't eat it. But you eat around the little bones, and then you spit the bones out, and you don't eat the nails. I think that's what I got from it. But again, Cameron wasn't having it. She said she doesn't eat anything with a bone, anything with an artery. She doesn't eat anything with scales, anything with a face. She doesn't eat eyes. If it was she has a whole list of things that she doesn't eat. The rest of the women seemed kind of open. The newbie, also Jen, she tried it. Stephanie tried it. Deandra was like, I'm in for it. Tiffany was eating them up. And then Kary tried it too. And then she got a bone, and no. Stephanie spit it out and was like, I can't do this. I feel like I'm eating somebody's little fingers. And Tiffany looked at Cameron and she's like, Cameron, eat that phalange before I give you one of these phalanges. And Cameron, again, didn't know what she was talking about. She's like, what is that, a scientific term? At one point, Cameron finally she didn't lose her stuff, but she kind of got annoyed, and she's like, stop trying to force me to eat something I don't want to eat. And Tiffany just looked at her like, okay, I guess I'm going to drop this. I did think it was sort of special, though, that Tiffany was trying to at least take this episode to go around the room and share with the ladies her culture and a little bit about Chinese New Year. I guess in Chinese New Year, you get money, but she had these red envelopes, and they were Cartier, of course, because these women are over the top. And she wanted to go around and have a question where everybody grabs an envelope and they answer a question about themselves. And that's how the ladies could get to know each other better. When Tiffany Moon ended up sharing that she only sees her kids for 2 hours a day because of her extensive work hours, her career is insane. That's why they get paid the big bucks, I guess. I felt bad for her. Only seeing your kids for 2 hours a day, that's tough. But Kary made a good point by saying, listen, you only see your kids for 2 hours a day, but they will grow up, they will love you, they will respect you, and they will understand, and you will have a relationship with them one day. Aside from raising them as your kids, that's still going to be strong. It's going to be a strong bond because they're going to realize everything that you've done for them. And I like that. What I didn't like, though, was the fact that Brandi got out of eating the chicken feet, because I thought that would have been really, really good to see. And what I also didn't like about this episode was the fact that Kary kept complaining about Deandra's complaining. She said that Deandra, by the way, guys, I just went ahead and hit that StreamYard link down for you guys if anybody wants to call in. Theo said Tiffany looked stunning in her outfit. I don't mind the stories, but no one is forcing my eating. I agree. Tiffany looked great and wore red because the color represents luck. That's why the Hungbao's envelopes were red. I like that. Will they love you if you never see them? Seems like a child I bonded with who spent quality time. Yes, you get a $2 bill my friend gives us every year for good luck. Okay, so they have these red envelopes again. We talked about them. She says that all of the women have enough money, so she didn't give them money. She gave them questions to answer about themselves so they could learn more about each other and get better acquainted. Again, Kary was sitting there complaining about, I guess, the fact that Deandra has these hypochondriac tendencies, But mind you, she's had different. I mean, she's been sick, severely sick before. So now when she gets sick, she gets nervous. Whether it's a sniffle or something, she panics. And also, there are a lot of people right now. Look at Shannon Bador on the Real Housewives of Orange County. She got tested like 4 or 5 times until she got a positive test. She's like, I'm negative. Nope, I need to get tested again. I'm negative. Nope, I need to get tested again. Negative. You know, everyone's a little bit different. And I guess for them, maybe being hypochondriac during a pandemic is not the worst thing. Because if she's sick, at least we know this is one sick person who's going to stay away from everybody. But Kary keeps on poking and prodding. And those are exactly the words that D'Andra used. I didn't know that they traveled across the country and did like this trunk show type of situation together where they were bringing their products out and trying to sell them and share them. And I think because of this, they probably got on each other's nerves a little bit too much. Stephanie used the perfect analogy by saying, you know, like, D'Andra is kind of like the complaining old woman who likes to sit there and complain about everything. And then Kary is like the grumpy old man. So they're kind of like an old married couple. I guess that's a perfect analogy. Moving on, though, I can't wait to see the rest of the season. But there's one scene that we get to see. Tiffany shared with us that she can't swim. We see Kary get drunk enough to shove Tiffany into the pool. And D'Andra's like, Kary, what are you doing? She can't swim. And I was thinking in my head, oh my gosh, this is nuts. And we also know, whether it's clever editing or whatever the case is, that Kary's not going to be a big fan of Tiffany. She's not going to be a big fan. I also don't think Cameron is, but we'll have to wait and see. Tiffany's a really strong personality. I don't know. I'm going to bring up a few callers. Hi, Dana. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Good, good. Good morning. And guys, before we get started, go ahead, hit that like button. Good morning, Dana.
I'm happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you.
How's Pops, by the way?
Pops is doing good. I'm going to see him sometime this week, and his birthday is on Monday.
Aw, tell him happy birthday for me, please.
Yeah, of course. This is our first birthday that we get to spend with him.
Good. Hope to see him soon on here.
I know, me too. I think after this, he's going back to California. So once he gets settled, I think we'll be bringing him back on.
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
all right. So what was your favorite part of this episode? I have to ask.
Well, Tiffany Moon has come in like a jet, let me tell you. I mean, she's like gone to the front of the group like I've never seen in a newbie.
Right. And I think it's because, and please correct me if I'm wrong, watching Real Housewives of New York, like Leah McSweeney came in hot, but she doesn't have like the money that the other women have. And the, you know, like it took them a minute to kind of respect her because she's a lot younger and a couple different things that play into that. But she still came in hot and was like, no, I'm Leah McSweeney and this is what it is. But she's not the front runner of the group. Tiffany Moon came in and she's like, I have my diplomas, I have my glamorous closet, my big mansion, and Mama D got me in the show.
Right, and she's very intelligent.
Right.
So she can hold her own in any conversation, really. She kind of reminds me, I mean, I get this sense about her almost like a Dallas LVP.
Yeah.
I mean, really. When she went and showed the house, I have to say, she has no problem showing her opulence whatsoever. And it did kind of remind me of an LVP kind of thing.
You know, one thing that I want to say really quick about these housewives is I feel like the Real Housewives of Dallas, people have the tendency to sleep on them and not really watch this show because they're like, oh, that's Dallas and this isn't a good show. Somebody just said on here, D. Marie, these housewives actually sound interesting. Might watch this one. I mean, how are you feeling about this season so far? Like, I feel like this season has been way better than Orange County. And,
oh God, yeah. Sorry,
right?
God. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, and I do like the energy that Tiffany Moon's brought in now. The Jen, the redhead that they've brought in, she's seems like a placeholder right now. You don't really hear anything from her.
Right.
And she does remind me of Angie Everhart. That was the model that we were trying to come up with.
I agree with you. She's beautiful, but again, beautiful doesn't hold your place on a housewife show. She's definitely a friend of.
I mean, what are they doing with her? She just kind of seems to be there. She's not really saying anything. And
I don't know.
Cameron, I tend to want to believe that Cameron is more intelligent than she lets everybody know. I feel like some of the dumb blondness that she puts out there is trying to get a laugh or for show to some degree.
Right.
I want to believe that it's put on.
Like
Or-
kind of like the Paris Hilton syndrome of being like, what?
Yeah, I mean, she's educated. And then, she came up with that stupid pink dog food business.
Did anything happen with that?
I mean, supposedly, it took off. I've never seen it in a store, but
Okay.
I don't know. I just can't believe that she is as much of a dinkus as she shows. I mean, it's funny at times. And I got a kick out of her hiding the food down on the ground in a plate like a kid would.
I just noticed that, by the way, Pops just called in. I wonder if he's watching right now. Pops, if you did just call in because you're watching, go ahead and call in again. I'll bring you on really quick. But go ahead, Dan. I'm also going to add in V with us too.
And the red envelopes, the kids in China, that's what they get at Christmas time. And they do stuff it with money. A lot of the kids will either save it, put it in a savings account, and save it every year for Christmas, or they will get so much of it to go buy toys and clothes with, and they will put the rest in savings to go towards their college.
That's smart.
So that's what they get every year for their what is our Christmas is their holiday, Chinese New Year.
Okay. No, I think that's interesting too, because I really like the fact, and I felt like Brandi should have made an effort to attend this dim sum brunch, even though, again, it's not like it necessarily would have changed the fact that she made that video or anything else. But Tiffany was trying to make an effort to let everybody into her culture and have everybody understand Chinese culture and where she comes from. And I feel like Brandi going on a vacation to Florida, I don't know. I'm sure she had it planned anyways, but I just feel like she should have been there, especially because you sign a contract and you're supposed to be filming. This is your job. Where are you?
Yeah, I think that she went at a time that for a split second, they opened up the beaches for a minute.
Right.
Because they thought that they could loosen up restrictions. And then it was during spring break, and then things got hot again, so they closed it back down.
Hi, Adam. Hi, Dana.
Hi, V. How are you?
Hey, V.
Oh, hi. How are you? I'm good. So I was listening in, but I think what happened was she had a trip planned to Florida. So when she went to Florida and she came back, she had to quarantine. Remember, they didn't start filming. They started filming later. They didn't film during spring break and all that time. They started filming, I want to say like July, like around July-ish. But I heard that she said it was like a quick little thing that said, oh, she has to quarantine. I don't know if you guys heard Tiffany say that. It was like, oh, Brandi had to quarantine, something like that, because she went out of town. Because, they tell them that if you do anything outside of the cast, you have to quarantine before you film with the cast again. That's why Portia wasn't a part of some of the scenes, the beginning scenes in Real Housewives of Atlanta, because she was out protesting, so she had to quarantine and she couldn't be in those scenes, the group scenes with them. So
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they have to quarantine. They had to quarantine. That was one of their rules for filming. So I think that's what happened with that one. But so I had to catch up on both episodes yesterday. So
and how are you feeling about them?
I'm kind of loving Tiffany Moon. Only thing I don't like is the bragginess of her. Like, she's so like braggy. Like, I kind of want to compare her because she's so educated to Wendy, but then it's just like completely different.
Yeah, I was just thinking that
Wendy
she has that
Osefo.
Dr. Wendy Osefo kind of way about her, where she's like, my degrees, my diplomas, this, but she's not as annoying as Dr. Wendy Osefo with that, but she is a little look what I have and look at my amazing cloth. I mean, she's a little over the top, but
Do
again,
you know why I think that we don't take her as like so annoying as Wendy? Is because she's an MD and she talks about how she graduated from Cornell at 19 and got her MD at 23. People are getting their MDs at 30. So it's
Yeah.
like, so we're like, oh, she's super an overachiever. Like, oh my God. And she's an MD, like she's a doctor, you know, she's seeing these things. So her talking about her degrees just makes us want to dive in a little bit more. When it comes to Wendy Osefo, yes, she has a doctorate and I don't want to take that away from her. But she doesn't have the MD to where we're like, oh my God, she's so like educated, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but I love both of them either way. But I'm loving Tiffany Moon and the little closet, Chanel closet door action. It was super cute, but she was kind of bragging a little bit, and I can see where Stephanie was
she's like a Heather Dubrow and a Dr. Wendy Osefo mix.
mixed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's spot on. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sprinkle
So
a little
spot on.
LVP in there.
Yeah, well, and I even liked her comment when she's like, "Listen, I'm an overachiever," and everyone
Yes.
asked me, "Do I have do twins run in my family?" And I'm like, "Nope, my ovaries are overachievers too." I'm like, this woman, I cannot
I
with her.
know. I literally was thinking the same thing. I was just about to bring that up, and she was like, "I'm an overachiever." I love that. It was super cute. But you can tell she's a great mom and a good doctor, and I just want to see how the dynamics with the friends are. And you know, the last episode, well, the beginning of the episode when she and Brandi hugged it out and you know loved on each other and stuff like that. It was super sweet, and I want to see if they're gonna like grow a friendship from that. But I know for a fact that Tiffany Moon and Miss Pink, what is their name?
Cameron.
Cameron.
Yeah.
Cameron. They're not gonna be besties because she said it on Watch What Happens Live.
Well, and I want to say really quick, Theo said, let's not diminish Wendy Osefo's credentials. She is a beautiful, intelligent woman. Nobody's diminishing her credentials at all. I think that it's amazing how successful she is. Also, though, it was kind of a running joke for Potomac that she was like 4 degrees, 4 degrees, 4 degrees.
I love Wendy. No, I love Wendy, and I love, you know, that she's such a, you know, intelligent woman, and she really did bring that on to the Potomac housewives. It's just
Right.
when it got kind of annoying when she just kept bringing it up and she just kept trying to diminish everybody else's accomplishments or, you know, where they are in life by telling them that. And,
Right.
but
What she did to Karen a few times.
Exactly. So, but you know, I'm not diminishing anyone that goes to school for that long. I mean, they deserve it all.
Overachievers. Yeah.
They deserve it all.
I also, Ablavi said the new girl is annoying as well. I don't find her to be annoying. I find her to be interesting, but we're going to have to see. Again, I think it's so hard for any of these women. It doesn't matter on what franchise you are in, to just put yourself in an ensemble cast that they already have a running system in how they are around each other. And they have these friendships, and to just throw yourself into it and be like, hey, I'm here. You're either going to sink or you're going to swim. Look at the Jen girl. She's not really swimming. She's just kind of floating there. You know, like Dana said, we just see her. She's beautiful, but she's not really adding anything to the conversation. And for Tiffany Moon, she's kind of overpowering the conversation.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you guys really quick. Again, 183 in the room. Go ahead, hit that like button, guys. But I want to ask you guys, did you find it to be a little bit interesting and funny the way that she just had this kind of heart-to-heart with Brandi and then goes in and makes fun of Cameron for not knowing what cathartic meant?
See, she caught herself, though. She caught herself and said, oh, that's not nice. I shouldn't laugh. And she kind of explained it. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't give her, like, too much, you know, flack on that because she knew that that was wrong. I was going to laugh at her or make fun of her. So I wouldn't give her too much flack on that. But, yeah, I guess it was kind of
just funny. Yeah.
She's
oh, go ahead.
She's probably a little bit intolerant of ignorance because I will tell you too, in the Chinese culture, education is above everything. Every kid in the Chinese culture is studying probably I'm going to tell you probably 12 hours a day, if not more.
Wow.
They go to school all day, and then they come home, and then they do homework, and then they eat, and then they take more classes online. I kid you not. They judge these kids, and they'll wear ties around their neck that are color coded, and the ones that are advanced are one color, and the ones that are not advancing are another color. And by the time you're in like 7th or 8th grade, if you haven't excelled to a certain point, they won't let you advance in school anymore, and only certain ones are allowed to go to university.
Wow.
And then your education stops. So it's like you are expected to get all A's.
That is interesting. Well, I mean, I think that we're definitely going to get to learn a little bit more about, obviously, Tiffany's culture and her background, where she comes from, which is awesome because, again, it's always fun to see diversity. And I know that Ablavi has pointed out before, like throwing in somebody who is of a different culture or religion sometimes, or ethnicity, just to throw them into a franchise. So that doesn't work, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. And she thinks that, or she believes, and I don't want to speak for Ablavi, we'll bring her up in a little bit. She believes that sometimes they do it, and the casting doesn't necessarily make sense. But for this casting, I really feel like it makes sense. I feel like Tiffany being friends with Deandra, knowing Mama D, I think honestly Mama D did good casting. I want to say that.
But you know what? Tiffany may cause the other women, or some of the other women, to level up.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I do want to point out the fact that Stephanie's closet is equally just as fantastic.
That's true.
When they showed Stephanie's closet, I thought it was great too. We do have a live interview today with Whitney Rose from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. That's going to be happening in about 45 minutes. So we have to go get ready for that. But before we do, I just wanted to ask, and I'll start with V. What are you looking forward to most? Like, what storyline interests you most for the rest of the season?
Just because I know Brandi's pregnant now, I guess you would say Brandi, because, she did have like trouble, getting pregnant in the past. They told her she was going into early menopause. So it's kind of interesting to hear about that. So I want to know what happened. So I'm looking forward to hers. And also Stephanie, because Stephanie says she wants to get back into social work. So I want to see how that works with her and her husband.
Yeah.
I want to see that dynamic. I'm excited for that.
Okay.
And I just started watching Dallas. Like, I literally binge watch it.
And you're liking it so far?
Yeah, I watched it earlier the year, like probably in the summertime, and I liked it. I mean, the first season was really a drag, and then the last season with Leanne, when she was, making all those racist comments, I was like, oh my gosh, she's getting kicked off, and of course she got kicked off.
Yeah, she was next level. Off. I did an interview with Leanne, and she was so sweet on the interview. And I've even spoken with DJ Richie Sky, who's interviewed her before, and he's actually good friends with her. A lot of people have different opinions about her, but you can't listen. It was on camera. Some of the things that she said to Kary they were absolutely ridiculous. And like Tiffany Moon said, and so many other people, we can do better than that.
Absolutely. So yeah,
Dana,
I'm looking forward to those storylines.
All right. Dana, what are we looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to some of what she said as well, but I would like to see what goes on more with Tiffany Moon and her integration in this group, to see how I like her. I do like her. Yeah. And I like her intelligence. I'm drawn to the dynamics of her with the group. And I do want to see what goes on with Deandra and these siblings we've never seen.
Okay.
And
I agree.
What Mama D's take on all of this is. That would be curious.
I have a feeling Mama D is not going to be all for it, but we'll wait and see, because Mama D is very opinionated. And I want to say too, before I say what I'm most excited about, Hermione did say my son has 7 academic colors and he would not have been able to advance to high school if he did not have 5+. This is so interesting to me. But it sounds like they're almost like credits. Like for us in American schools and maybe other schools too, I don't want to sound ignorant, but like we get credits, right? So if you don't have X amount of credits, then you won't advance to the next level. And if you do, then okay, you go to 9th grade or 10th grade, and
Adam,
you have to have like 24 to graduate. The entire,
in China, it's the extreme.
Yeah, that's, oh my gosh. I don't know if I would have been able to survive academically over there.
I mean,
But-
I've got 4-year-olds in China that are reading and doing math and history that probably 5th graders are doing.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Okay. Well, that's a fun tidbit for anybody who didn't know. And I just want to say too, what I'm looking forward to most, I think, is probably this Tiffany Moon story. Just gonna mute that for a second. This Tiffany Moon story, the storyline, how it plays out, how she ends up getting on with Kary and also Cameron, because we know that they're probably not going to get along the best. And I want to see what happens after Kary throws Tiffany in the pool. I'm curious how that's going to kind of play out. But go ahead.
Kary seems real hot after Deandra. I mean, they used to be kind of tight, and it just seems like it's more than, oh, we roomed together and got on each other's nerves. I mean, she's just sort of like going after her in a way I haven't seen.
No, I don't know if she's doing that for a storyline or what, but she does. It's interesting to watch, but we're gonna have to see how that plays out. I wanted to also really quick before we go, let me just try something really quick.
Oh, I hope you get him.
Let's just see. Guys, if you haven't already hit that like button. Oh, you can see my camera. Hey, Pops. I wanted to
call you right back. I'm on the phone with somebody.
Okay,
Hey, Pops!
Dana wanted to say hi.
Hi, Pops. Happy birthday.
Hi,
V-
Pops!
V says hi, happy birthday. We'll call,
See me though?
but
Hi,
we'll call. I'll
Pops.
call you in a little bit.
All right, I'll be off the phone here shortly.
All right, love you, Pops.
Hi, Pops. Love you.
Yeah.
All right, bye. All right. Okay, so that's awesome. We got Pops. I'll have to give him a call in a little bit. We keep on playing phone tag, but all right, guys, we're going to be coming on live here in about 40 minutes now with Whitney. I hope everybody can join us. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And until then, thank you so much, guys, for joining me. I always appreciate having you.
You're so close to 30,000, I can feel it.
Wow. I like that. Feels good. Hopefully we just keep on growing this little family that we have.
Yep. Proud
All
of
right.
you.
Thank you, Dana. I appreciate you.
Alrighty. Have a good
And thank
one.
you, V. All right. All right, Dana. And hopefully you're around later. And if not, hopefully you can catch the recap, because I feel like Whitney is going to be a lot of fun. I'm not just going to ask her the stereotypical, like, what's it like to be on Salt Lake City and how do you feel about the women? I want to dive more deep into who is Whitney? What is her life like before filming? What was it like integrating cameras into her life? How did she get casted? I want to know, like, the stuff that we don't already know. So
Yeah, the underneath.
yeah, the underneath. So hopefully I can get it out of her. We'll see.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Dana. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.